President Bach, welcome, and welcome back to Canada.
Yeah, great pleasure being here, of course, for
And
many reasons.
well, one of which is personal. I know you'll be spending part of your trip in Montreal at the very site where you won your gold medal in 1976 in fencing. What are your memories of that moment?
Well, first of all, it will be very emotional being back there, and I'm really looking forward to this day. Of course, the memories are great, as you can imagine. They're winning this gold medal here, not having been the favorites of the competition, and still making it. Still today, it gives me goosebumps only thinking about them.
I bet. So 1976 was an important year for you personally. 1976 was a significant year for our country as well, because it was that year that Canada realized its dream of hosting an Olympic Games, and again in 2010 in Vancouver. There are many who would like to see that dream rekindled in 2024 in Toronto. What is your personal view? Do you want to see Toronto as an Olympic host city?
No, there will for 24. I think Toronto could be a good candidate, but we still have to see now the Pan Am Games, how it's working here. I had the opportunity to have a brief chat yesterday with the mayor, who is considering obviously such a candidature.
He's an open-minded man.
Sports-loving nation like Canada, now celebrating your year of sport in the country, such a cosmopolitan city like Toronto. There it would be, I think, really worthwhile studying this question now, in particular in the light of our new strategy with regard to Olympic candidatures, the Olympic Agenda 2020.
In terms of reusing venues with refurbishment to bring them up to Olympic-ready standards. So Toronto will have just hosted a Pan Am Games, as you said. How important is it then for any future Olympic bid that these be successful Pan Am Games?
I think it's first of all to the people of Toronto and Canada themselves to take this decision. But of course, a successful organization of such a big multi-sports event like the Pan Am Games can give a boost there to a candidature. And I think it can also encourage the population of Toronto to stand united behind such a candidature.
I'm wondering, 2024, many think should be North America's turn again to host a Games. The United States Olympic Committee has chosen Boston, but there's a question of the level of public support now, and the bid could well be doomed in a statewide referendum next year. Could that open the door further for Toronto?
First of all, I think there is no formal rotation of the games to America, North America, Europe, or Asia. There, the IOC members are taking their decision, looking for the best candidature under the respective circumstances. And you may also understand that I will not speak about the candidature from another country here in Canada. I think in general, when you are considering a candidature, you should concentrate first of all on your own strength and your own determination. And not looking so much what others are doing, what is happening in other countries, in other continents, but concentrate on yourself. And then if you come to the conclusion we want to have the Olympic Games in our country, then just go for it.
And in terms of going for it, and building a bid again, because as you know, Toronto has had 2 failed bids in the past. In tailoring that bid, as you are here, as other IOC members are here in Toronto for the Pan Am Games, what specifically in Toronto will you be watching? Will you be analyzing and evaluating?
Now, we have been changing with Olympic Agenda 2020 this candidature procedure significantly. In the past, it was like this that we would look at it and see which conditions they can fulfill, what is already there, what can they do. And now we are taking a totally different approach. We want to know from a potential candidate city already how they think that Olympic Games would serve them best, how Olympic Games would fit best into the long-term development planning of Toronto with regard to sports development, with regard to a sustainable development, with regard to economy, with regard to the ecological system, and so on. So it is up to the host city then to really devise such a project, and therefore we have added to the procedure a so-called invitation phase, where we are ready to have all these conversations with potential candidate cities. And in the light of this invitation phase, there last evening I also already agreed with the mayor of Toronto that we would meet here during my stay and discuss a little bit.
In terms of other discussions, the mayor, and what other discussions, with whom will you be having discussions while you're here?
Now, first of all, with regard to a potential candidature, this again depends on the Canadians here. There we are open in this invitation phase to speak with everybody concerned, to speak with the National Olympic Committee and its president Marcel Aubout, to speak with the different levels of government, to speak with everybody who is interested.
Before there is 2024, of course, more immediate is the 2022 Winter Games coming up, and you will be announcing very soon the host city for those games when the IOC meets in Kuala Lumpur later this month. You're choosing from between just two cities, Almaty, Kazakhstan, and Beijing, China. These are two nations with a less than stellar human rights record, undemocratic nations. This would seem to be an unpalatable choice.
First of all, it is not so new that in the Winter Games you have less candidates than in the Summer Games already for geographical reasons. With regard to the political circumstances in candidate cities and countries, the position of the IOC is very clear. The position is that in order to function on an international level, the IOC has to apply the same rules all over the world. In order to do so, we have to be politically neutral.
Right. But you don't have a choice of sorry.
But this does not mean that we are apolitical. What we want to do with the games is not playing the role of a world government. We have to respect the sovereignty of countries. On the other hand, with the Olympic Games, we want to send the message of a peaceful, tolerant society, of a society where in fact all people are equal and where the Olympic Charter fully applies. That means very concretely that before making the choice, we have to make sure in our evaluation procedure, which is a very transparent and an open procedure, that we get the assurances from these candidate cities, from these countries, that for the Olympic Games, for all Olympic-related matters and for all participants in the Olympic Games, this Olympic Charter fully applies. This is our responsibility, and this responsibility we are taking very seriously.
So just within the time frame of an Olympic Games, is that what your focus is on, as opposed to the more broader context?
This is our responsibility. We cannot interfere into a political system or the legislation of a sovereign state. This we have to respect. We are not a world government, and we are not a supra-international parliament. Our responsibility and our leverage, if you want to say so, are the Olympic Games and are the organization of the Olympic Games. And this is what we are doing. This is what we are respecting. And this is what we are looking for from candidate cities.
The fact that you are left with 2 candidate cities in this case is because several other cities dropped their bids. I'm wondering what it says about the Olympic movement when Poland, when Sweden, when Norway choose not to follow their bids because of a lack of public and government support.
Yeah, but there the reasons were very different in the different countries. You had, for instance, in Norway, just the choice between the candidature for Olympic Games or the minority government, which is a coalition government, remaining in power. So there, this was just a political decision which at the end was related to the games, but was no judgment about the Olympic Games. And this you can see from the fact that now in a couple of months we will celebrate the Youth Olympic Winter Games in Norway, in Lillehammer.
So you're not concerned about this being a trend?
No, I'm not concerned about this trend, but because I think with the Olympic Agenda 2020, which was initiated already before but not yet approved, we are giving answers to many of the questions which had been raised at the time. And this means that for the future, we are having the candidate cities to look into the legacy, to look into the sustainable organization of an Olympic Games from the very beginning, that we are encouraging to make use of existing facilities, that we are encouraging where this is not possible to make use of temporary the buildings, where we are encouraging even to look to other cities than to organize certain events, and where we make a very, very considerable contribution, financial contribution to the organization of the Games, with an amount of about $1.5 billion now for Rio de Janeiro next year. And where on the other hand we are reducing the costs of the bidding also significantly and also contributing financially. So I think there for 26, the Winter Games, you will see a different field than from the one we have now.
I'll tell you what is of interest to Canadians, if I can ask you further about this, is the question of 2018 is NHL hockey. I know it's not your decision to make, but where do you stand personally on whether we should see Ovechkin and Crosby and the Connor McDavid future stars on the ice for Olympic hockey?
No, I hope, of course, that we see the best players there in the Olympic Games. And I think also that the players, they want to play. I had the opportunity to have breakfast with quite a number of them during the Winter Games in Sochi, and they were all excited about an Olympic participation. So I hope we will also see them then in Pyeongchang in 2018.
Let me ask a final area of question. picking up on the area of reform that you've mentioned, in addition to the structure of bidding and the cost of bidding for an Olympic host city, you've also undertaken reforms as far as gender equality is concerned, and you mentioned those in relation to Sochi. There has been support for Principle 6, the enshrining of, within the Olympic Charter, the prohibition of discrimination based on gender and sexual orientation. I'm interested in the issue of transgender athletes. There is, in the United States, a swimmer, a transgender swimmer who is competing for the Harvard men's team. Canada has a transgender dodgeball player who is competing at the international level. There are individual sporting organizations who are developing policy on that. I'm wondering whether the IOC is prepared to deal with that issue as well.
Well, we do, and this is our Medical and Scientific Commission, which is dealing with these kind of issues, and the policy has been started to be developed already a couple of years ago. There are regular conferences, and with the scientific community, because this is not a decision you can take without the scientific, without considering the scientific impact and without having the contribution from the scientific world. So there, our commission is dealing with these issues.
So looking at it now, I mean, you could lag
Yes.
or you could lead on this. Do we expect
No,
to see
we
from
do.
the IOC
Yeah,
a formal
yeah,
policy in the near future?
Definitely.
Because I was thinking, and this brings us right back to where we began our conversation, and that is 1976 in Montreal. The Olympics where you won your gold medal is also the Olympics where Bruce Jenner won his gold medal in decathlon. Now Caitlyn Jenner, of course. So there is that parallel. I wondered if that had any personal resonance for you, or if you've been thinking on that as a result.
No, not really, because we started to look into this matter already quite some time ago, and there I have full confidence in our scientific community and in our medical and scientific commission in the IOC. So this case made it just more prominent, but did not change our attitude.
Or give you pause, even just as on a personal level, the interesting coincidence.
No, there, of course, there you're looking at this when it's such a prominent case, when it is an athlete who was winning his gold medal at the same Olympic Games like you did. From a merely personal point of view, you look into it maybe differently. But as the president of the IOC, this personal experience did not have to have an impact on our decisions, because the procedure is already underway.
Thank you very much for your time
Thank you.
today.